Whoa, wow, that's bright. Good morning, and I want to first thank Melissa, she's not here unfortunately, and for letting me come and for all joining me here today. I created a car with my mind, and I'm going to show you how I did it. So it's Tesla. No, that wasn't how I did it. About 2009, I happened to see, as I was driving around, a Honda Accord station wagon. I grew up with station wagons as a kid, rumbling in the back. Yep. And so I thought, that would be really cool for us to get a station wagon. We had a van, which I loved, and we had a sedan, but I have 2 kids, I have 3 dogs, all that kind of stuff that have to be hauled around. So I kind of put it in my mind, as I call it here, I was just dreamt about it. And at the same time, I started thinking about retirement. And I thought, when I retire, it'd be cool to get a sports car with a stick shift in it. Because I've had a couple of those and I really enjoy them. So zip up to 2012, my wife totals out our sedan, so I had to go looking for another car. And I was in my mechanic getting the van worked on, and he's a broker for automobiles too. He buys them, fixes them up, and sells them. Just happened to mention to him, "Do you got anything in the pipeline?" And he said, "Well, I do." And I went, oh, good. And he said, "But you're not going to want it." And so it started this friendly little argument between us. "Oh no, tell me about it." "No, you're not going to want it." "No, tell me about it." You're back and forth. I finally said, "Hey, wait, just what is it?" He said, "Well, it's a station wagon." I went, "Really cool." And before I could get those words out, he said, "But you're not going to want it." And it started all over again. And I said, "Just tell me what it is." Now, anybody guess what might be the other thing that he didn't want me to know about? Stick shift, yes. In fact, that's not the exact car, but it looked just like that. And it was not only a stick, it was a 6-speed sports stick. So it was fun as can be, So now, why do I bring that up? Why do I mention that? That I created this with my mind.
Trying to make us envious.
Yes, of course. Well, it would be a Tesla up there if I wanted to make you envious. I believe wholeheartedly with my soul and my mind and everything that we create from here. And I mean that literally. And I've seen it happen not just with cars, but also with money, with relationships, with jobs, all of it. And so today I want to talk about mindset because I believe it's what's the driving force for us in our life and in our business. So, because wouldn't you want to get the perfect client? You may be getting clients now, but are they the most qualified? Are they the best? And wouldn't you like more money? Anybody not want more money in this? And be able to make decisions, have your life work smoothly. So, I wanted to introduce you to my training force here. My family, my teachers, as I call them, my professors, my son up there in front, behind it, back there in the back, the blonde whose hair changes about every month because she loves wigs. That's his fiance. That's my wife there. And me buried in there like E.T. with the stuffed animals in the closet is right there. And then my 2 daughters. And both of my daughters have OCD, severe OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. And I won't go into a lot about that, but that it is a high anxiety. It takes over their lives. And it took over ours. And the battles, especially my oldest one there in front, as I always tell, he kind of put me through the journey through hell with it. Because we had battles at 2, 3 in the morning for 2, 3 hours, abuse, breaking things, yelling, screaming, all of that fun stuff for years. I say that not to give me sympathy, because she's been my best teacher and she's doing great now, but I learned so much off it because what happened was she'd come at me, I'd come at her. And we would just climb that wall of anxiety together. And my wife had to come to me one day and said, "That's not working. You've got to change. You got to change what you think about them. You got to think how you communicate with them and how you handle them." And so I had to go through a lot to get to that place. We both did. She puts a lot on me, and it's very true because she was much better at it than I was. But because of that, I learned so many skills and so many resources and things like that. And then I found, as I was getting into my own business, putting those to business was just as effective. So, what is mindset? It's ideas, thoughts, attitudes, beliefs, and it's a matter of something that we go over and over in our minds, so much so that it becomes set in our mind, thus mindset. So, anybody tell me what the two types of mindset are? Anybody want to take a wild guess? Well, that's pretty close. So yeah, fixed and then growth. Now, a fixed mindset is a person that says, you know, it's the way it is, never going to change, why bother changing it? And they kind of get stagnant. They don't go anywhere. They don't ask questions. And it's done unconsciously mostly. You know, they're being influenced by somebody else, their parents or whatever, and taking on their stuff instead of developing their own. So, anybody tell me, if it unconsciously hits fixed, what does it hit for growth? Conscious. Yay, you're good. So, these are some of what I find, just some basic traditional mindsets. You know, nose to the grindstone. I love the next one. Market like Coca-Cola. You know, I was in corporate and went into my own business. And of course, I was like, well, we got to do it like the corporate. I didn't work for Coca-Cola. I just put that up there. But you got to market like they do. And they have tons of money. And so I don't. And so it doesn't work as well. I mean, Steve, you know that. You talk about that all the time. So we want to get past some of these mindsets that success is just about money. And that's a good thing to be part of, but there's other things to it. So that's really a kind of a fixed mindset. So do you want to have more money, more clients? So what stops us from doing that? Or what hinders us to we're not doing it to the nth degree? Well, there are going to be three areas I'm going to be talking about. And the first one is triggers. This is what I work with. That's the first thing I work with when I work with a company. And I didn't mention in there, I put it up there, and let me back up just a second. I'm a mindset coach at a naturopathic doctor's office here in Charlotte. And what that means is, what I do is, people come in, they've tuned into something going wrong here, and I got to talk to them about tuning in this, because if we don't know it by now, this controls this. And it also controls this. So I work with them in getting them to change this so that it helps to get this better. But the first place I work with them is the triggers. And I'm going to use an example here. How many of you have your own business? Okay, so pretty good majority of. When I first got into business, I had all kinds of ideas, you know, and some of them a little naive, you know, maybe changing the world. And what happened, probably within days of those thoughts and the great ideas and writing them down and making a plan, I had what I call my little munchkin on the shoulders that popped in there and said, oh, yeah, you can't afford that. You don't know enough about that. You're not smart enough. Or the other part it would do is go, you remember when you screwed up that sale last week? You remember? And every time that happened, it would knock me down another notch, knock me down another. It almost got to a point where I didn't want to do business because the negative thoughts, the negative words, the negative feelings were chewing away. They were triggering me into anxiety. They were triggering me to a fight or flight where I wasn't doing anything. So the first place I tell people that they have to go is to tune in and listen for what the negative messages are. And one of the ways I tell them to do it is, here's some common words I find in most of the negative messages that are out there. Doesn't mean that's all everybody. There's probably a lot more. But like should not. You know, you should have done something back then that you didn't do, and you're beating yourself up for it, really? Or you're putting expectations on yourself. I should be able to whatever that you may not be able to. Always and never. How many with partner, spouse, that argument? You never listened away. Or you're always whatever. Are they really doing that 24/7, 365? No. But when we use words like that in our mind, it locks it in. That's the truth. She's always doing that, or he's always doing that. But I love you, but what? Why? I find why is it throws up walls. Why'd you do that? Ask a kid why they did something. Oh, but there was an elephant. Must puts a lot of pressure on it. You must get this done. How many have teenagers here? Whatever, Dad, whatever. Talk to the hand or whatever. And then the gotta and have tos. That's my biggest place. Gotta get it done, gotta have more money, gotta have this, gotta. And it just beats yourself up and puts pressure on you. You don't want that. The second thing is the gut feeling. Now, I'll tell you this, when I was late 80s, something like that, I actually got fired from a job. I take it as an award, actually, because it really led me to better places. So I was looking for a job, and I decided I went into apply at a security company. And I had an interview with who would be my boss. I walked into the place, and my gut started going, And I'm like, okay, yeah. And I didn't really care for the place, didn't really even like the boss, but I took the job. I walked out of there, and I literally got sick. My gut just went, ugh, what are you talking about, you going there? The next day I called him and said, I'm not coming in. I'm not going to take this job. We don't listen to our gut. And what's really interesting is nowadays in my industry, in my field, the gut is considered the second brain because it has so many neurons encapsulated around the stomach and within the stomach that it has a big, huge influence on the brain. And I see this every day. If you take care of the gut, it can really improve anxiety and things like that. And what they talk about in that Harvard study is you really want to start incorporating your gut feeling into your decision making. So not only thinking logically, but also putting the gut feeling into it, putting the heart into it when you make decisions. And then finally, the doing. I'm a doer. My wife, I can't sit still. I have a hard time taking time off for myself without, so should we be doing something? Maybe we could, how about we run through, we could, because we're doing business, we have doing thinking, we have doing focus, doing goals. Everything is about our to-do list. I used to make to-do lists that were like a whole legal sheet long, which was so stressful. Yeah, because you never get through all of them. And then you beat yourself up at the end. Look, I didn't get anything done. And we do market. All of it is doing. So what's the thing to do here? To get out of the doing? Well, because when we're in a doing thinking, we're thinking with the on-guard brain. And it's usually kind of negative. So it's not helping us be productive. We think we're productive because we're doing something. But it's not really productive. So how do we do it? Now here's where we step out into the foo-foo world a little bit. But we really want to start blending in who we are, what we're being, and we're being conscious. And what I believe consciousness means is tuning in. First, tuning into yourself. And this is what I teach my clients is listening, tuning in here, and listening for these messages that aren't helping us. That are, like I said, that little munchkin, he is still there once in a while. He loves to kick me in the side of the head and go, that's stupid. What did you do that for? Then you got to tune into where you want to be as a person. When we think about mindset, we think about it as a personal thing. It's about life. But it's also about business because when you're in your own business and life, they're both they're the same, really the same thing. And then you want to focus on where you want your business to be. and you want to develop the growth mindset. Be willing to expand, to be willing to accept and ask questions and doubt things and be willing to move forward. So really the consciousness is about tuning in. And then what we do is we slowly change these messages. We don't jump from I'm a terrible person to I'm a perfect, wonderful person in one big leap. We do slow changes to it. And like I say, awareness is the first step in it. You know, like I said, when the patients come into my doctor's office, they're aware something's not working here. When our car makes a noise, we're aware that something's wrong, and we take it to the I want to say vet. I don't know why I want to say vet. A veteran mechanic. That's what it was. Corvette. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So we have to not only tune in here, we have to tune in here, because really the brain, we think of it as here, but it's all over, in every cell of our body and our gut, all of that. So again, why do you want to do this? You know, of course, more money, both in your life and in your business. And honestly, I honest to God have seen this happen. You know, most of us call it coincidence or luck, but I've literally had where, you know, something happened. A water heater broke down one time, and it was almost $1,000 to fix the damn thing. The next 2 days later, I get a check from my brother, my oldest brother, who I don't know why. He said, "I just felt you needed some money," and I'm like, this is my conservative family. I wouldn't anyway. So, you know, more clients. You know, your mental and physical health is very important too. And then wanting to improve your life. When I've been working with my clients, I came up with this 7-step process to get to a mindful place. I call it arm length awareness, and I'm not going to even explain what it is. That's all explained in it. But it's a pathway to this conscious, mindful place. It's 7 steps. That's what's involved with it. There's 7 videos. It's like a 20 to 25 minute video. And then I put in there 4 consults where what we do is when you finish the first 2, we have a consult. We talk about, we go through, there's exercises with each one. And then we go through, and I use my tapping. I'm an EFT practitioner, so we do tapping and work through the different things that are going on for you. And there's resources in it. It's a really neat program. Like I said, I've been using it for about 5 or 6 years with my clients, and I've just turned it into a class on kind of online kind of thing. So what I'm doing is I'm offering anybody that from the NBG, it's usually $295 for the class. I'm offering it for $95 for anybody here and really for the members of the group. And you can either scan, if you know how to do a code, which I just learned, you can put your photo on and it'll get a little yellow square around that box, and you click it and it'll take you right to the site where you can sign up and all that. Or you can go to armlengthawareness.com. And I'll real quickly, the arm length awareness is about the fact that awareness is usually something that happens after the fact. You know, I talk about like yelling at your kids. You don't want to yell at your kids, but then it comes out after that last string is broken. And you catch it out here, and then you usually beat yourself up about it. Oh, I shouldn't have done this. And what we want to do is we want to pull that arm in and start catching that and change that so we're not beating ourselves up about it. So that's where kind of the principle of it. And there's just a bunch of steps in how to get through that. Anyway, that is it. And I thank you for taking the time today.